you've also done Ben 10 comic books.
We did. We only did the first. IDW put out a big run of Ben 10 books, and each Man of Action wrote a story in this particular one, and then lots of other people wrote those. We're knee deep in Ben 10. Like, we're doing a new Ben 10 show now, and it's it's 11 minutes, which are fun instead of 22 minutes. They're shorter and they're more compact, but there's still it's still a whole Ben 10 story.
Yep.
So even though it's shorter, you have to do all the same thinking about it, and it's really time consuming.
Absolutely.
So we have no time to do the comics, sadly, but others do, and good for them.
And so how did that come to be at IDW? Did they be like, hey, we want you guys to be involved in a Ben 10?
No one ever comes to us and goes, we want you to be involved in fill in the blank for the stuff that we have made up. Like, there's a Big Hero 6 cartoon. No one asked if we wanted to do it, even though we are, in fact, cartoon guys who made up Big Hero 6 and who worked at Disney doing shows for them previously. My friend Nick, who I've lived next door to for 10 years when I first moved to Burbank, is the director of that show in an ironic twist. And he's great, and the show's great. It looks fantastic. They brought us in and showed us that. There's been Big Hero 6 comics coming out. Nobody contacted us. Do you want to do that? I mean, sometimes we would say yes. This time, DC actually did the original books, and they were like, do you guys want to write these? And we're like, no, you know what? We'll do the first 4. And we did.
Nice. So DC put out Ben 10 books as
well?
They
did Cartoon Network Action Pack, which always had a Ben 10 story, and then like a Samurai Jack story and a Powerpuff Girls story, I think. And
okay.
It would just alternate for years. Those came out for like 10 years.
What has it been like seeing Ben 10 kind of grow into the success and
wild? I mean, it's weird. It's Ben 10 did okay in the U.S. when it first came out, but it wasn't a runaway hit. It was just a hit. Did well, but it wasn't that. Kids loved it. It didn't saturate the culture. Liesl, my wife, and I went on a tour of kind of the Scandinavian region. I think because I was going to yell at Teddy and be like, "Finish this comic," which you have to do sometimes with him. With love, and we went on a cruise, and on the cruise ship, it's like an overnight cruise, like how do you get from Sweden to Denmark or whatever. And I went in the duty-free shop on the cruise ship, and there was a Ben 10 section. It was like a tiny little shop, and there was just all this Ben 10 stuff that I had never seen. I'm like, Liesl, come look at this, and I showed her. Then we got to Copenhagen, and we checked into our hotel, and she's like, oh, look, they have Cartoon Network, and the Cartoon Network logo would flip around, and it said Ben 10 TV. Cartoon Network, Ben 10 TV. And I was like, what? And then we went to Toys R Us, they had a Toys R Us there, and almost half the store was Ben 10 stuff. 5 aisles of Ben 10 stuff. And I'm like, I think this show is bigger than I think it is.
Wow.
And that was when I knew there was stuff going on, and I knew, oh yeah, it's in these countries and whatever, because we get, reports and stuff. But I didn't quite get that globally it was gigantic. And then my buddy Rafa, Rafa,
of course,
who's an actor and a writer, he was in Ecuador, and he called me. He's like, "You're not going to believe this." He goes, "We have a tradition down here for New Year's. Like, you tie something to the back of your car and you drag it through town on fire." And I'm like, "That sounds like a really bad tradition. We have that in the South too sometimes, but it's not good."
Yeah.
He's like, "No, it's good here. It's good here." He goes, "There's Ben 10s. People are burning Ben 10s all around town." I'm like, "Well, still, this sounds like kind of a lynching instead of, no, it's good. It's good." I'm like, okay, so that was when I thought, this is really a whole other level.
I mean, I've seen my cousins who grew up in the Middle East were obsessed with Ben 10.
Yeah.
And I, at the time, because, I grew up a little bit too late for it, I didn't quite understand. I'm like, what is Ben 10? And this was before you and I had met.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay.
Well, we've heard of it being illegally broadcast in countries that we don't have political relations with. And I was
really?
like, that's the best.
Wow.
That's really subversive.
Yeah. So they would just take that stream and just...
Yeah. And then we got into the whole, people sending us Ben 10 toys that are made in the Philippines that are not licensed, products, but it's a Ben 10 gun, and his body is the gun, and his mouth is where these bullets come out, and you're just like, well, that's really wrong. But it's also really cool.
Did they brand it as Ben 9 or Ben 11?
No, it's called the Ben 10, pistol. You're like, well, we wouldn't license a Ben 10 pistol, but I've got one.
Wow. That's nuts to see that kind of growth and it growing all around the world in Europe, South America, Asia.
Yeah, and I went to Uruguay as part of the U.S. Embassy puts on a comic convention, which is kind of a cool thing down there, or at least participates in it. And I went down as a guest one year, and just this sea of the cutest kids you've ever seen. They're 7, 8 years old, and they just love Ben 10. And I was only supposed to be there for 2 hours or something, and I had to stay almost 5 hours just to sign stuff for all these kids.
Wow.
And they're like, you can go, you can go. I'm like, I can't go. Look at these kids. They love this show. I can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's something so powerful to have a hand in creating joy for so many kids. And,
Yeah.
And that's something that's so
And
cool.
this year, like everybody who is, I just got to give a speech at a big national collegiate kind of thing, speech competition. And everybody there's, 19, 20, 21, 22. Those kids were 10 when Ben 10 came on. And so they introduced me, and it was kind of like, whatever. And I go, I'm Steve. I also created Ben 10. Ah! And I was like, okay. I said, you're my people. Good.